Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Mr. Fix-It channel. I got the Suzuki done. Let's see how we got here. Stay tuned.
I was sitting out there in the shed one evening, not doing too much of nothing, just kind of staring at the wall and
Well, I do wish I was better at this, but here is the end result. This just slips on, nothing holds it on except for this layer on the bottom here, so nothing's glued. And I can take this back apart. Had a little bit of an issue with the seam right there, and my stripe isn't exactly in the center, but that's what I got for a seat. Let's go try it on the bike. All right. Now this should relax a little bit, you know, from age and being out in the sun and just being used. But oh my god, I still got so much more work to do. But there's that much of it. Alright, so I made this cardboard template and a cheap source of material. So I'm going to trace this out on here and cut this out. So these plastic rivets are interfering with the frame. Oh. They're interfering with the frame right there, so I'm going to have to make a modification because it's just too close. Almost get it on there, so to grind away some of the frame right there. Alright, so I've been looking around for a place to install this gear position indicator, and there's really nowhere that's going to look good, and there's no real space. So this bike does not require this temperature gauge, so I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to try to install this in here, since this has 6 speeds on it and this bike's only a 5-speed. I'm going to modify this thing. See, there's little light bulbs in there, and I'm going to hide it behind this bezel, so I'll have my gear position indicator here where the temperature gauge used to be. While wiring this up, I realized that one of the bulbs is burnt out. Can you guess which one it is? Yeah, it's 5th gear, the one you're in all the time. So I don't have another bulb to replace these with. So I'm gonna have to figure something else out. I'm glad I tested this before I put it all together. It's just a shame that I waited until I, modified the crap out of it. If I can find another incandescent bulb like this, then I'll put that in there. But if not, I do have some LEDs. Alright, so I was digging around in spare parts. This is a spare dash for my scrambler. It actually has what looks to be the right bulb in it. So I'm going to cut this out of this and try to put it in with this and see if I can get 5th gear light to work and then continue on to this this nightmare. Alright, so I took a bit of screwing around, but made a cardboard template, cut this out of this black plastic, and that fits on there, and then there's one of the mounting screws for this bezel, so I'll be able to go through that, and that'll pinch that into place. So let's get this put together, see how it looks. Now before I'm done, this bike, the red line, is 10,000. So I want to put something in here to remind me that this bike doesn't rev all the way to 14, So that's going to be the next thing I do. But before that, let's get this kind of halfway put together and we'll see what this looks like. Cool. I like it. All right, let's continue. Also, while I was in here, I tidied up all the wiring. So it's not all dangling down here anymore. Well, I'm at this point again. It is not fun pulling the engine out of one of these. Oh my God. So get that cleaned up, painted. Get this cleaned up, painted. Get that cleaned up and painted. Get the fairings, yeah. All right, I got the engine painted. Stripping down the frame now. I'll do the electronics off of there. Take all this apart, get this frame painted. I'm back and forth between painting this frame back to black or painting it white. I think white would look good. Maybe leave the swing arm black and the shocks black. I might paint the front forks, the bottoms black. I don't know yet. We'll find out. Alright, there's the engine back in the frame. Looking good. I only scratched it a little bit, so yeah. What I ended up doing was I picked the engine up with the crane, and then I hung the frame onto the engine while it was suspended and got the bolts in it and then set it down on the jack. That seemed to be, to me, the best way to do it without scratching the crap out of the paint. So that's where we're at now. Alright, making progress. All that hooked up, painted, cleaned, all that stuff. Alright, prepping all these parts for paint. It's got this foam on the inside. I guess it's for noise dampening or heat. I don't know. Anyway, I gotta sand all these things down, scrape all this stuff off, all these panels. Now these panels, this fairing's basically junk, so I'm just doing what I can with the plastic fairing pieces. Oh my God, so many layers of paint. And also Hurricane Helen has made it to Ohio. You can do this for hours without the camera on and not fumble around, but as soon as you turn the camera on, by God, you're gonna fumble and make mistakes and This is just super glue, and this powder I'm putting in here is a ground up plastic. This product is called Q-Bond, and it's made for repairing cracks in plastic. See how I just filled up that hole. And then once this dries, I can sand this down and it'll fix it. The only downside is there's so many cracks to fix. You want to do this to both sides of the plastic. I'm using a little burr here on my Dremel, and I'm cutting a little channel in there to lay that powder in. Do it on both sides. Alright, so I was missing this big chunk here. I took my Dremel with a little sanding drum and I trimmed this out, and I cut a piece out of the old melted front fender and shaped it so that it would fit in there. I'm just holding that in with a piece of tape, and I'm going to glue this thing in. It's not exactly the right curve this way, but it's better than having a big gaping hole there. So this fairing is just absolute trash, and I wish I could have started with something that wasn't this damaged, but this is what I got, and the end result may vary a little from what I imagine. So I'm just doing the best I can with what I got here. This old Ninja was either crashed multiple times or crashed one time pretty bad for it to have all this damage on it. Just don't want to touch the tip of your super glue into that powder because it'll harden up on the tip. There's a bit of a learning curve to this stuff, but it's pretty strong and it will repair this ABS plastic pretty good. I wouldn't say it's as good as it not being cracked, but it's definitely better than just using plain super glue or something. And it dries pretty hard. It's pretty rock hard. You can sand it quite well, so it is very good at this application. This is the product I'm using. This is not sponsored. I bought this. It's not real cheap, but this works well on this ABS plastic. So you can see all the cracks I fixed. There's one there, this big long crack all the way through here, this crack up here, big chunk missing there, big chunk missing there. Filled all that in. And if after you sand it, if there's any low spots, you can just add a little bit more of this powder and some glue, and raise that back above the surface and sand it down, and it should sand out pretty smooth. Here's some cracks that I repaired previously, and after sanding you can see it's pretty smooth. So I repaired all these cracks. Big crack there, big crack there, crack there, crack there. So I've repaired all those cracks, and there's still that much of the powder left. So it does go quite a bit of a long way. The kit comes with its own super glue, but I've had this so long that the super glue that was in there was dried up. So I'm just using this dollar store super glue, and it seems to work well. I think the super glue that comes with this is a little bit thinner, and it soaks into the powder a little easier. So you probably have better results with the glue that comes with the kit, but yeah, that's what I'm using. You can see I can pick the whole panel up with that. That's pretty strong stuff. So you can see this panel here, this is the lower right cowl on the bottom of the bike. It's missing this huge chunk here, and it's got this big crack that runs down through here. You can see how a previous owner had used fiberglass, big glob of fiberglass. I tried to peel this all off, but it's stuck on there pretty good. I got all the loose stuff. I'm just gonna leave this, and I'm just gonna fill this crack in on this side with the Q-bond here. And I may see if I can't add a piece here to kind of fill this out. There's also a crack down there. This thing's in bad shape, but I'll do what I can. All right, so this part here is in really bad shape, mainly because of the fire damage. It's very thin, it's busted and cracked everywhere. See, that's split open, and this is going to take a whole lot of work to make this thing to where it's going to actually look good. And you know, this is the face of the bike, and this is what a lot of people are going to look at first. I don't know, I didn't want to spend all the time, you know, after peeling some of these layers off. This thing is trash. Not only that, the windshield has been painted black. Some of the screw holes and the tabs are busted off of it. This is going to be an awful lot of work. And to add to that, the turn signal lenses are destroyed. There's no way to repair that. And these things are $35 a piece. So instead of trying to repair all this stuff, I got this off of eBay. It does have some damage. There's some cracks here and there. It's got this one hole in it, but the turn signal lenses are in good shape. The windshield has not been painted, and there's no fire damage. And I only paid $70 for this. That was the cost of these two turn signal lenses. So instead of repairing that, I'm going to repair this and add this to the bike. So much better piece to start with here. And by the way, this is the original color this bike was. Yeah, let's not mess with that. Alright, now it's just a matter of sanding it down and getting it prepped for paint. So after searching for about a year now, I finally found this part. If you remember in previous videos, I had this part of it, but it was broke right here, and I didn't have this section of it. So I did find that. I actually got both sides. So, yes. Well, I think there's just enough room in here to paint a couple parts. Got an exhaust fan up there. All right, start painting this fairing now. Hey, if it works, right? How's it going? I don't know. I'm no painter, but hopefully it looks good enough. Look guys, I'm a lot of things, but one thing I am not is a painter, so don't judge too hard. Alright guys, well here it is. It's finally done. This was a lot of work, and this fairing was basically trash, so it's not perfect, but I think it looks pretty good, you know, from 10-15 feet away. So let's give you a little walk around here. I still need to find this lock mechanism for here, and I still need to find this latch mechanism for this, but until then I just got this little plastic tab. The windshield is a bit scratched up, which is unfortunate. Maybe able to buff that out later, I don't know. Now I did not film every last detail of this because this video would have been a week long. This whole video that you're watching took me over 2 months to produce. So like making these side panels, I made these out of metal. It's just a simple matter of, you know, cardboard template. I machined some buttons on the back to fit into the grommets like the original one did. You know, I didn't film things like repainting, stripping and repainting the battery box. I didn't film making these fill panels here. Also made these out of metal. I didn't film wrapping the exhaust, and I didn't film, see if I can zoom in on this. I made the steering handlebar lock deal back in there. So there's a lot more work that went into this bike than what you're seeing in this video. But let's take this thing for a ride. All right, let's take this thing for a rip. Sitting in the seat going down the road with the helmet on, it's really not that loud at all. For everybody else, it's pretty loud. And if I crack into the throttle, it's pretty loud. But just cruising, 60, 65, not bad at all. Completely tolerable. Gas tank is full of water and dust. Tires are flat, brakes were seized. The actual front forks were bent. These are in pretty bad shape. It had been dropped multiple times. Sat outside for 10 years uncovered. You just put your mind to it and set a goal. Get your project done. It may take more time than you ever expected. It may take more money than you expected. But eventually, you just keep at it. You will get it done. And this bike is a perfect example of that. A year and a half ago, people have said there's no way that bike would have been back on the road. Look at it now. Rolling down the road. Runs good. Grips. Drives good. This is a fun bike. And if I don't say so myself, I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? Now, as far as how long it's going to look, that's yet to be determined. But right now, it looks good. Hopefully I don't crash it.
That would be bad. Don't let the long-term project get you down. Go out there in the garage. I mean, mess with it. Do things to it. Clean it. You know, buy a part for it here and there. Keep yourself interested in the project. And you'll get it done. Don't get it like most people when they get a project bike like this. They'll get it 75-80% of the way done, and that's it. They won't work on it anymore. They'll give up on it. You're 75% of the way there. Just finish it. The hardest part of any project is that last 10-15%, the finish work. That's where a lot of people give up on a project. Just stick to it. Around this tractor. I can't see. Get out there in your garage and fix it. If I can do it, you can do it. We're breaking the law now. We're breaking the law. I'm putting it on YouTube. I know out here on the urban highway, cruising the speed limit, it's not as fun. I like being back on the back roads where they're tight and twisty, where you're not actually breaking the law, but you feel like you're going fast and you're having fun. But it does cruise good. You're one-handed, sitting here just cruising away. Well, that guy's got some stuff, things and stuff. So a little bit of geographical knowledge about the area that I live in, if you guys don't know, if you've never heard about it, there is an effigy mound called Serpent Mound. It is the largest effigy mound in the world, and this area all around here is actually a giant crater from who knows how many millions of years ago, or billions, whatever. And this is a huge uridium deposit, and we'll be coming up here on Serpent Mound, just around these curves here. So if you've never been to Serpent Mound before, this is where it's at in southern Ohio. I'm not actually going to go to the mound. It's more than likely it's probably got the gate closed, but if the gate's open, we'll roll up in there in the parking lot. I'm not going to walk back there or anything, but you guys can check it out. So right here is Serpent Mound. This is Brush Creek. This one's right past Serpent Mound. So the gate's actually open. We'll roll up in here and I'll show you guys where Serpent Mound is, because it is quite interesting to a lot of people. We'll just roll in here real gentle like. So there is some Indian burial mounds here, which I believe is there we got to pay and then get in here. Nobody's in here. $8 fee. Nobody's here. All right. So there's some Indian burial mounds here. I believe they've exhumed the bodies for, I don't know, some kind of purpose. But there's a mound right there. The serpent is actually over this way. So there's a mound right there. There's several mounds back in here. And then there's like a little museum right there. And they've got some artifacts and whatnot. So we can kind of see the mound right back in there. So right back where those people are, that's the start of the mound. You can kind of see it over in that area where that bench is. That's the tail of it. So it's a pretty cool place if you guys ever want to check out Serpent Mound. This is what it looks like from the parking lot. But that's not what we're here to do. We're here to ride, so let's go ride. No receipt. So 2.28 gallons. I didn't fill it all the way up. Population here is like 5,000, maybe. Not quite sure on that. So he's got hundreds of fence panels for sale. I think I got enough video of me riding this bike around. I know my batteries are probably getting low, probably running out of memory card space. So I'm gonna run over here and get some lunch, take a break, check the bike out, make sure everything's okay, and I'll head back to the house. And yeah, beautiful ride today.
Well guys, that's all I got for you on this build series. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Don't be afraid to fix it. If you like this build series, you might be interested where I turn this old Suzuki into a dual sport. There'll be a link right here. Thanks for watching.